Continuing to remake my older guides, today's video is the ultimate step-by-step to getting an early Lionheart in Final Fantasy VIII. For the original version, this would have been Lionheart on disc 1. Of course, nowadays there are no discs, everything's digital, isn't it? And being able to take the Lionheart weapon and limit break from disc 1 right through to the end of the game, well, there's nothing quite like it, especially if you are trying to get as overpowered as possible, as early as possible. So, let's get started. Now, the best way to play Final Fantasy VIII, not only my opinion but generally considered the case amongst fans, is to play as a low level game. And that's because enemies will like to level up with you, with your party, but they do so with gaining stats at a higher rate. So relatively, the more you level up in FF8, the weaker you become. You can offset this with junctioning, but you can still do junctioning at low level, so there's just no need to do that leveling, at least not until much later. But also, some of the methods for acquiring the items we're going to use today in order to get Lionheart early will require our party to be low level, otherwise we won't be able to attain them by these means. The best way to avoid gaining experience is to simply use the card ability in order to defeat enemies. That will give you all of the other rewards, including the AP for your Guardian Forces and item drops, but not the experience. And in terms of bosses, they don't give experience anyway, so no problems defeating those normally. As soon as you start playing Final Fantasy VIII, you will want to be conscious of collecting a nice hand of powerful cards. Straight off the bat, you are going to get the Ifrit card automatically, just for defeating Ifrit in the Fire Cavern. The Mog card can be won from the boy that's running around in the lobby for Balam Garden. Once Zell is in the party, then you can battle his mother in Balam Town in order to win his card. And to fill out your hand with some other powerful cards, go ahead and battle Dr. Kadawaki down in the infirmary. If you want to collect all of your opponent's cards when you win, you will just need to do a little bit of brief manipulation with the Queen of Cards in Balam Town. I covered that in the last video, so check that out. But by this point, you should have a good, strong collection ready to face off against your opponents. If you followed that previous guide, then you should have the 3 Guardian Forces, Quetzalcoatl, Shiva and Ifrit. For today, all you really need is the card mod ability from Quetzalcoatl, and the ammo refinement ability with Ifrit, which you probably don't have, so let me explain a little bit later how to get that. One small adjustment to my previous video: once you've got the first 2 Guardian Forces, make sure that card, the ability, is set to be learned by Quetzalcoatl immediately. That way when you go to the Fire Cavern and defeat Ifrit, you should get a big chunk of the 40 AP required to learn that ability without gaining experience. In fact, if you do so, you can keep Squall's level at level 8 throughout the entire game. In terms of the card game Triple Triad, there's actually not a huge amount we need to do in order to get Lionheart. But out of the 3 ingredients we do need, one of those, the Pulse Ammo, is inevitably refined from the Al Noil card, so we're going to have to work on getting those. There are other ways to get the Pulse Ammo, but not early on and not if you are staying low level. Now, in order to get the 20 Al Noil cards we are going to need, we need to find the right person to play against. And despite what I said in my older video from 5 years ago, the best candidate to do this is groupie number 1 in the cafeteria, not to be confused with the friend of groupie number 1. You want to card battle against the person at the back. Okay, so there's 2 people, one at the front, one at the back. Battle the one at the back. And the reason this person is the best for this card is because Al Noil is a level 5 card, and this person only will play level 5 cards. In fact, I found that they played an Al Noil card probably once every 2 or 3 games, allowing you to get the 20 that you need in about 45 minutes. Of course, you do need a good deck, and I do recommend having the mini-mod card at the very least. I don't know why, this could be completely anecdotal, but in my experience, groupie number 1 does play Al Noil card more regularly when I have mini-mod in the game. Every few Al Noil cards you collect, you might want to go and save your game, just in case it all goes hideously wrong, and you can just quickly reload then, rather than trying to win any cards back that you've lost. But hopefully, if you've got a decent deck, you shouldn't be losing. We are going to need that ammo refinement ability in order to eventually get those 20 Lionheart cards into the pulse ammo that we need. We need 12 pulse ammo. Now, in order to do this, we need to level Ifrit up to level 10. And the only way to level up your Guardian Forces is to level up your characters. However, there is a way to keep your character levels at their minimum whilst also getting Ifrit to level 10. The way you do this is during the Dolit missions. This is the very early mission in the game where you go off to Dolit and Cypher joins the party. And as soon as you get to Dolit and enter your very first battle, you want to have Cypher kill off Squall and Zell. That will mean they will no longer get any experience whilst they are dead, and Cypher will be able to absorb it all when you kill the enemies here. If you followed my overpowered guide, then you should have a whole bunch of powerful magics and Guardian Force abilities that you can then junction onto Cypher in order to make him a complete tank. However, because this is the remastered version, you can also enable the combat toggle. That will mean that he cannot lose HP and can just spam his limit break. The idea is you just want to give him Ifrit, because the more GFs you give him, then the experience will be shared amongst them. But just giving him Ifrit should give you access to HP Junction and Strength Junction for Cypher, and Ifrit will get all of the experience, the same amount that Cypher himself gets. Just work your way through until you get to this bridge here, and this I find is the best place in Dolit to farm experience for Ifrit. Probably takes about 15 minutes, if that, in order to get all of the experience to get Ifrit to level 10. Once Ifrit has reached level 10, you will then have the ammo refinement ability. At this point, you can use your card mod ability on the Lionheart cards. That will give you the 2 energy crystals. And then you can use that new ammo refinement ability to turn those energy crystals into pulse ammo. The 2 will give you 20 pulse ammo. You need 12 for the Lionheart, so that's more than enough. You just need to go ahead now, continue progressing the story, head on through Timber, and eventually you will start to make your way over into the Galbadia region. Now we want to get 4 of these Dragonfangs. As you can see, I've got 21. They're really easy to get, especially for a low-level game. You want to come over to where Galbadia Garden is, and you will see this mountainous range with this narrow path to a forest on the world map. This is where you want to head into, just this forest right here. We are looking for the Grendel enemies who, up to I believe it's level 20, can drop the Dragonfang, and will do so regularly. We only need 4. But here's the clincher, we can actually guarantee the spawn of the Grendel enemies. I don't know if this is a bug, but it works in every version of Final Fantasy VIII, including the remastered version. So normally, if we run around the forest here, the Grendel enemy can spawn, it has a chance of spawning. That's what's intended, I think. But keeping the narrow entrance here to this forest on the right hand side of the screen, if we head up to the top section of the mountain, I will enable encounters and hug that mountain from this forest, then every single enemy encounter that we discover should be one of the Grendel foes. Okay, we got a back attack, but that doesn't matter, it is a Grendel. And what we want to do is, of course, use card on the enemy. We don't want to kill it in order to avoid any experience. And hopefully we'll get it first time here for purposes of demonstration. Is the game going to be kind to us? Yes, it is. So we don't actually need the card. That's just a game to avoid gaining experience and levels. You still get all the other rewards, such as AP for your Guardian Forces and item drops, which I've spoken all about in the overpowered guide I've already mentioned, so I won't harp on about it here. There's the Dragonfang. That's the first of 4. That took, what, 2 minutes, if that? And all we need to do is rinse and repeat that a few times in order to get the 4 that we need. Now we still need the Adamantine item, and there are technically a couple of ways you can get this on disc 1, but if you're playing low level, as you should be, then there's really only one way to do this. As you progress, you'll eventually be able to gain access to the Tomb of the Unknown King, and as far as the story is concerned, you only need to find the number on the soldier. But if you progress further into the dungeon, then you will face off against the brothers. I'm not going to do a full guide on this dungeon today, as I've done them before, but I'll leave a link in the description if you need assistance here. By defeating the brothers in combat, you will be gifted with their cards. They are the Minotaur card and the Sacred card. It's actually just the Minotaur card that we care about for today, so go ahead and card mod that in order to get 10 Adamantine. You only need 1, so you've got plenty spare for later. And don't worry about losing the Minotaur card. There is a way later on to get back any of the rare cards that you go ahead and card mod now. Assuming the Adamantine was the last ingredient you collected, then the closest junk shop I believe is in Delling City, so we just need to head over there with the ingredients in our bag and we will be able to see that the Lionheart can now be crafted. There are manuals for recipes, but you don't need any of that. Just having the ingredients is enough to get this to show, and congratulations, that's all there is to it. And there we have it folks, the Lionheart is now yours. Fantastic job if you made it this far. Did you get it? Let me know down in the comments. You'll be absolutely able to destroy anything now that stands in your way. Apart from the fact that the Lionheart limit break is a random finisher which you cannot control when that shows after casting your limit break, but hopefully the odds will ever be in your favour. The fact you've got it now from disc 1 early on means you are much more likely to see it than if you'd got it later in the game. So folks, thank you so much for stopping by, checking out this video. Hopefully this guide remake has helped you out, and I'll catch you in the next one, and bye for now.